Well, a short time ago, I spoke to our Middle East correspondent, Hugo Bashega, in Jerusalem.
So there has been a statement by the Palestinian Red Cross saying that one of its workers was killed after its headquarters in Khan Yunis was hit in an Israeli attack. And this attack ignited a fire. The Red Crescent said three more workers were injured. Now, there hasn't been any kind of reaction from the Israeli military, but the latest incident involving the Red Crescent, 8 workers in Gaza, and also as in response to these Israeli attacks.
And Hugo, we saw in the report from Emir Nader there the distressing images of malnutrition from Palestinians and from hostage being held by Hamas. What has the response been to those images there in Israel, and any pressure on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as a result?
Exactly, and this morning in Tel Aviv there was another protest of people urging the Prime Minister to strike a deal with Hamas, and it's very interesting that this is happening as Steve Witkoff, the President Trump's envoy, is visiting Israel. Yesterday he met some of the families of the hostages who remain in captivity in Gaza. There have been some reports suggesting that he told the families that there is a plan now being discussed that will lead to the end of the war, and he said that Hamas was prepared to disarm if that will lead to the end of the conflict. Now, this has been dismissed by Hamas. This is not the group's position. Hamas says it will only disarm if there is the creation of an independent Palestinian state. And Hamas has also been saying that it will only accept a deal with Israel if that leads to a permanent ceasefire, to the end of the conflict in Gaza. I think it is very interesting that over the last few days, obviously there has been a lot of pressure on Israel given the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza with this starvation crisis in the territory. But it seems that American and Israeli officials believe that a different approach in these stall negotiations for a deal in Gaza is needed. And I think there's a lot of talk now about a comprehensive deal that would see all hostages being released at once instead of this phased approach for the release of the hostages and also for the end of the war. And I think it is very difficult to see how this is going to be achieved, how this is going to be accepted, not only by Hamas, but also by some members of the Prime Minister's government. They've been threatening to quit the governing coalition if there is any kind of deal with Hamas. They say that the war must continue, and this could lead to the collapse of the governing coalition. And for a very long time, families of the hostages have been accusing the Prime Minister of prolonging this conflict for political gains. 50 hostages remain in captivity in Gaza. Only 20 of them are believed to remain alive, and the families of the hostages say that time is running out to rescue these hostages, to save these hostages who are still alive in Gaza. In the meantime, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza continues. The United Nations says the aid that is getting in is not enough to alleviate the hunger crisis in Gaza, and yesterday the health minister there said 7 more people had died from malnutrition, including a child. So again, another indication of the catastrophic situation in Gaza.